Good evening, folks, and welcome to JayTalk.
JayTalk.
Of course, we welcome our wonderful co-host, Mr. Situationship, Nick from the Nick Drop.
Really? We're going to start that off? Oh, boy. Here we go, Mr. Situationship. Uh-huh.
Well,
Aren't you
why
the funny
not
one?
just dive right into the content,
And we
right?
just jump right into it right there.
Yeah. How you doing, though? Really quick.
Doing good, man. I'm doing really good.
It's
Life's
good to
good. It's a
hear.
good day at work, good day after work.
Yeah, good for
It was
you.
good. How about you? How was your work day? That
Fun.
bad, huh? That much of a hesitation on a podcast, sound podcast.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I'm not sure how to define it. Okay, let's just put it to you like that.
You're supposed to prep those fake lines. Oh man, it was
Yeah.
fantastic.
No. It has its ups and downs. How about there you
Yeah, I
go?
get that.
Yeah, that's fair. So,
Yeah.
okay, man, let's dive right in.
All right.
This is a really interesting one. We've talked about this a little bit before on
Yeah.
some of our previous episodes, but there was a question asked, and it really made me think about this because we've talked about, okay, so situationship, there's relationship, there's exclusivity. What was the other one that I was? There's casual hookup, committed relationship. You know, it's very interesting. So I was like, okay, this is kind of a interesting because the question that was asked of me um, was at what point does a relationship become exclusive?
That's a great question. I
You
know
know,
the answer to it. Do you?
um, so do we want to look at it how I view it or how today's world views it?
We're gonna have to look at it all the ways. How does the
Right.
world today view it? What is your
How did
opinion? I know what my opinion is.
right. So for me, if you're in a relationship, you should be exclusive.
Okay, so wait. The question was, when do you get into a committed relationship? When do you start exclusivity? When
Yes.
in the point of the meeting.
Well, but if you're in a relationship and you have a person that you're going out with and they say that you're in a relationship, does that mean you're exclusive?
I don't know. I don't know. That's not my definition of exclusivity.
Okay.
So
But see,
no.
but see, there are a lot of people when they hear relationship, they think exclusive.
I've been
If you're just dating, you're not in a relationship. You're just dating, and then or you're in a situationship.
see all that's very skewed for me. So
Okay.
let me give you some examples. I've been hanging out with my old buddies
Right.
and meet a bunch of people and everybody's drinking and eating and drinking and partying, cutting up. And I've had women that I've known for years that are friends and they put their arm around me and go, "You're my husband for tonight." Does that mean we're exclusive?
No.
Well, she just announced to the world
Right.
that I'm her husband for the night.
Right.
Let's just get married for this weekend, Nick, and then we'll go back to normal people. You know, I have a very distinct line of where the relationship goes from dating to exclusivity. And
Okay.
we'll get into that later on in the podcast, but we need to go through the process. How do we want to set up this layout? Okay. Going to the grocery store, you meet somebody and you ask her for her phone number, she gives it to you. Okay.
Right.
No exclusivity, no commitment, right? You start
Right.
texting, get to know one another, go out on
Go
a
on a date.
date, go out on a date. Everything's going well.
Right.
Okay. Are you
You're just
exclusive?
dating. No, you're just dating.
So you're just dating. Okay. So plan another date, right?
Right.
At what point do you stop talking to other people? Where's that line first?
Okay, so that line is real easy for me
It
because
is.
I define it.
Yes, that's why I'm saying we can't jump right to exclusivity. We got all these steps that we're missing.
Right.
So
Yes.
there are people in this world that I want to go out on 10 or 15 dates with you and really get to know you before I stop seeing or
Other people.
talking or deleting my online account or whatever,
Right.
right?
Right.
So in that case, after the first date, everything goes well, right? We do the 3% man thing. We try not to seem too eager, so we don't text them right away or do what that kind of stuff, right? So go through all that process. So you're texting for the next week and you plan to go out the next weekend.
Right.
Are you still getting to know each other? You still in the dating process? I mean,
Yes.
there hasn't been any intimacy yet. Maybe a kiss goodnight, maybe a little bit of,
Playing
depending on
around. Yeah,
how
exactly.
yeah. Okay, so you still haven't made an exclusive, you haven't talked about commitment, you're just dating,
Right.
okay? After that, are you still talking to other people? A lot of people do, because 'cause
Yeah.
they're like, "I don't know if this is my perfect. I don't know if that's the way this works."
Right. That's why
Sometimes
it's
on the
called
first
dating.
date yes, sometimes on the first date, you go, "Bam, that's my perfect."
Right.
And in that case, in the way you do it, if it's a good first date, what do?
I always kiss them at the end of the date. Seal the
Talk it
deal.
yeah. Do you freeze your online account? Do you stop flirting with other women?
I
When do you
don't.
when do
Uh,
you s so when during the dating process, is there an amount of dates that you have to go on before you start thinking about exclusivity?
so for me, are you talking about in general?
For you.
For
We're going through
me,
yeah, I wanna go through the
okay.
process, and we'll talk about everybody else in the meantime, and then we'll talk about mine.
Right, right. For me, I think, well, I'm pretty much I only date one woman anyway, just because I
Right,
don't want to have to keep up with 5 different stories.
right,
But I've been trying to at least talk to 2 women at the same time. Just to talk, even if we're not going out on a date. But if
yeah,
I go out on a date, I go out on a date. I let them know I'm just dating. It's not like it's a big deal, or I don't say anything at all. It's just an assumed if you're going on a first date, there's a good chance you're maybe going out with somebody else too.
right.
So, let's just be honest.
But there's no
Um,
intimacy there, so it's really, you know
right. And it's funny you say that though,
Yep,
um, because intimacy changes things for some people, but it doesn't for others.
right. Well, it could either way or you get see, we're jumping ahead so fast and so far. We need to get
I
back
know.
to the point of where do we find out when we decide it's a commitment, it's exclusivity? How do we go about that?
Well,
What is
and that's
your
different for well, that's
well, so
different
for
for every
you
person. Yeah,
so
yeah,
for
yeah.
you,
For me, I think it's it has to do with your reading your okay, one, are your red flags? No. Orange flags or yellow flags, whatever, proceed with caution type thing.
right.
Yeah. Are they for me there's a lot of things, a lot of factors I factor in. But generally, if I got a good feeling, and granted, my picker's not any better than yours. So let's just be honest.
Let's not put mine on
So,
the bottom of the rung though. Let's just,
yeah, I know.
let's assure that.
I'm just saying, my picker's not any better than yours. I'm not saying yours is worse. I'm saying mine's down
Neither
there
one of
with
us
you.
are yeah, right.
Yeah, exactly. So, but the point is, for me, whenever I get to a point where I want to have that intimate relationship with the woman, that's where I define exclusivity, you
Before
know.
intimacy, when you decide that, okay, this is gonna make
And,
it to that
and
level.
And here's the difference though, okay, and we may agree or disagree with that, but intimacy doesn't mean sex,
Okay. We'll
okay?
define that
Because I've
too.
I've had sex with women and it's not been intimate.
Yes, you're right. I would argue with that because anytime you get to the point of sex, that's intimacy. Whether it's love or like or lust, it's still, in my opinion, an intimate moment between two people
Okay.
in a private setting. So,
Okay.
I mean, that could be that's a great argument. What
You're
is,
right,
there are some people that go, it's just sex. I'm gonna
right.
date 10 or 12 people. I'm gonna continue to be in a situationship. I don't want to settle down with anybody. And we, men and women, need that
Yes.
that feeling. What I say intimate, because I don't go into that half-heartedly.
Well, and I won't disagree with you there, okay, but there are I mean, I've had sex on my first dates a couple more times than you have. We've talked
Well,
about this in the past.
yes, yes.
Shut up.
Well, you just threw me under the bus with a picker thing.
I know. I'm sorry. That was my bad. Anyway, but no, we talk about this and it's sort of like when you go on a date, and you think everything feels good and it's starting out well, but then it just kind of falls flat.
Right.
Okay. Okay. It happens to all of us, right? So sometimes when you go out with someone and then you go out again on a second date and then a third date and then you go to have sex, what happens when it falls flat
In the
during
bedroom.
sex?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, that happens.
Exactly, and so that's where it's like, okay, that's not intimacy because if it was, it wouldn't have fallen flat.
Right. Well, it just turned into a red flag instead of, an encounter. You know, it has
It's
happened. I can understand
yeah,
that.
yeah, it does. Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's my point is sometimes you can have sex with someone and it may be pleasurable, but it doesn't have the same feeling.
It doesn't have the emotional connection.
Exactly.
Yes.
And that's the difference, in my opinion, between sex and intimacy.
So, and I get that, but if so, to turn that, to get to the point of sex or intimacy,
Right.
you're already done with talking to other people.
Yeah, I am.
Yes.
I am. Yeah. Other
And
people are
see,
not. I am.
I wholeheartedly agree. I would date, and it's a struggle because I don't like to do the same thing you do. When I start talking to somebody, if we kind of hit it off, even just texting before we even meet, and I'm like, "Hey, this is really cool." She's responsive. She cut, whatever.
Right. Right.
It's throwing out my green flags. I'm already at that point, even before we meet, thinking, "All right, and then we're gonna start doing the judging thing. Do I want to, but
Right.
still keep the ball rolling
Right.
on however many first date. If the first date goes incredible, then I'm done. I would
Right.
have said earlier, the minute intimacy happens, it's immediately exclusive to me.
Right. Right.
Because if I'm
But
gonna
that
be,
doesn't but what if it's not to her?
well, then my picker's broke again. Because if I felt it and she didn't, but then again,
Right.
you can be intimate with someone and not feel the emotional connection with them, and then the relationship's going to fall flat really quick. But I'm
Right.
not going to be, even if that happens, it's always first time jitters or whatever.
Right.
You really don't know each other, so you're kind of fumbling a little bit. I'm not going to just give up on that. If I made it to a point to be intimate with this person, I'm going to try to see how much farther it goes. I'm not just going to go, oh, well, that sucked. I'm done,
Right.
and fall back on whatever the other person that I was talking to, or,
Right.
so that's where my I'm done when
Right.
it comes to
Well,
that.
but so, and that, so a good example, and the reason this question was asked is if you were in a relationship where you both said you're in a relationship, but yet they were still seeing other people because they thought it was okay to see other people because they didn't say exclusive. They just said in a relationship. What's wrong with that?
Well, they need to define that, because if anybody said to me, we're in a relationship, the word exclusive is going to come out of my mouth. I'm going to
Right.
say, yes, we are exclusive. Are you ready to be in an exclusive relationship?
Right.
And if they hesitate, but yeah, they do that, then I'm like, hold on,
Yeah.
don't say what you know.
What you
This
want me
isn't
to
going to
hear.
go. This isn't going to get into an argument. You need to tell me how you feel, and
Right.
how, we need to clear the air. We need to communicate that, because I've had that happen before.
Right.
I'm like, I'm not the kind of guy that likes to date around and sleep around. I don't, I like to sleep around, but with one person. I don't want to
Right.
go through
Right.
all that.
Well, and it's funny because I actually dated a girl one time who said that she would have sex with multiple guys, but the only way you know if she was exclusive is she would let you have sex without a condom.
Oh, okay.
That was her definition of exclusive because,
Interesting.
I know. I was like, "What? Oh,
You know
okay."
what? That's not so far fetched. It really isn't.
I know, still a little crazy.
I'm not going to judge that. Yeah,
I know.
but that's a different way of looking at it. I mean, most
But
people go, "Oh my God, just because you had sex with somebody, you're going to stop having sex with everybody else."
in this current society, population, whatever culture, it's actually pretty common for people to be having sex with multiple people.
Oh, extremely
I will
common.
ha yeah, I will have to hand it to this lady. At least she said, it's gonna be a condom for every guy unless he's, so she's got a little precautionary safety going on there, but
Right.
still.
So she immediately, the minute the condom comes off, that's her definition, and she probably communicated that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah,
If he was
she
pushing
did.
her, she'd go, "No, no," because when that happens, we're going to be exclusive. And if he
And I'm
wanted to
not
be
ready to
exclusive,
exclusive with you. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
if he was ready, then off it goes. But
Right.
so I don't
But if
see
he
anything
pulls it
wrong with
off,
that.
she would probably, like, "Hey, nope. Sorry, we're done. Take a
Yeah.
hike, buddy."
Well, yeah, that's sad.
Yeah, I know.
That's just playing games there. But yeah,
Yeah.
no, I would have that. That's where it's really hard to juggle. When you're online and you meet somebody, you're texting them, then you're texting somebody else, or you're texting two or three or four or five people, and
Right.
you got to, before, if they send you a text message and ask you a question, you got to read back in the several texts to make sure that you're answering the question. And you try to stay on the same page with all of them, but it's
Right,
not.
right,
You know,
right,
then you're not. Then that's that old phrase is you're out there to impress. You're not actually being who you are.
right,
You're doing anything to impress them. So you're basically lying and whatever. I don't know if
right.
it's considered lying, but you're really not saying anything derogatory. I'm not going to tell a
R
woman that I'm texting, yeah, I'm 6 foot tall. You know,
People have said it.
hey, somebody came on this podcast and said some guy lied about his age, lied about his height.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and he was in his 70s. and he started crying on the first date. Remember Abigail telling
Yeah.
us that?
Yeah, I remember that. I
Like,
remember that.
oh my, why would you do that?
I know.
I mean, there's
So
a couple of times I've gone out on first dates where they literally misrepresented themselves on all facets of the deal.
right.
The pictures
Yeah.
were 20 years old, that kind of stuff. And you're like, I'm already, you know, there ain't gonna
Yeah,
be
I
no
know.
exclusivity here, you know.
I'm sorry, but if you have to lie to go on a date, yeah, you don't start off a relationship lying. I'm sorry,
Right.
people, but you don't need to get it through your head.
Yeah.
So I gotta tell you this. I thought this was really funny. I actually found an article that says, "What is a situationship?"
Okay.
You ready for this?
Yes.
A situationship is a undefined romantic relationship that exists somewhere in between a casual hookup and a committed relationship.
Okay.
And I was
That
like, okay. The situationship offers flexibility to come and go as you please.
come and go.
Anyway, so
But see, in those situationships, people don't talk about long-term goals. They don't talk about feelings or emotions.
no,
They just talk about work. They talk about just general life situations. They don't,
right,
they're not on a date discussing another guy or girl. They're not, they don't talk too
right,
much about their family. So you don't get to know them on an intimate level. You don't get to know their friends, their family, something like that. You go out on a date, you go have dinner, you go to a movie, you go to a play. After that, you come back, whoever's place, have a little, fun in the sheets, and then one of you leaves.
right. See, and it's funny because I'll give it a little credit. A situationship is a step above what you'd call friends with benefits because at least there's some emotional attachment.
You think?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, because it's two people in a kind of romantic, they want to do more than just have sex. They want to go out on dates, treat each other like they're in a relationship, but without the exclusivity, in my opinion.
Well, what are friends with benefits? That's the same principle, and you're
Uh,
friends.
yeah, friendship
Friends
benefits a little different.
so friends with benefits is just, "Oh, we're good buddies, and I just need to get off tonight, so come on over."
Yes.
Oh, okay, well, I don't have any of those.
I know. Me either, man. Me
No,
either.
no.
Sorry. That
Would
seems
you
a lot
tell
of
me if you did?
yes.
Okay.
I would.
Oh, I know you would. I'm just being smart. I'm just being
I
snarky.
would yeah, I don't know. I'd be proud of it in a way. No, I'm
Yeah,
just
well,
kidding.
we talk about that off the air.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, there you go.
But those those things, all of them, friends with benefits, situationships, it's too shallow, if that makes
Yes.
any sense. It's just for me, it's just too shallow. The emotional connection, I've always said that about me. I'm highly emotional more than most men, which is probably a bad or good thing. But my father was not always present to teach me the manly things that you need to learn. So
Yeah,
I'm having
okay.
to learn them the hard way now by doing it on my own, right?
Right. Right.
Trying to pull back in my masculinity. That being said, any relationship that I get into is going to be emotional if it lasts more than a couple of dates,
Right.
because I'll flat out tell a girl on the first date, we ain't going, we're not going to bed. We need to get to know each other on an emotional level first, and then we can, get into
Right.
that.
Right.
Because yeah, I'm not just a one night stander, kind of never was. Even when I was in my 20s and would jump anything, I was never like that.
And as the funny thing is my last 2 first dates could have ended in sex on the first date, but I did like you. I held back.
It's
So,
tough. Sometimes it's tough,
uh,
but
you have no idea.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. You know, if I
I'm
was
s
actually on a date and saw that many red flags, but she was extremely attractive, I don't know how good I would be if we jumped in the sheets, but I don't know if I'd say no because I know that, I don't know if I would ever do that, but it'd have to be Jenny McCarthy, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's
Yeah,
fair.
yeah.
So, yeah. It's I think it's just a challenge. I mean, that's why a lot of people are asking these questions because it's just depending on where you live, depending on who your friends are, what kind of people you're surrounded by, who you go out on dates with, what's what kind of culture you're exposed to, I think determines a lot of that as well.
Right,
You know, I'm a little more conservative when it comes to dating. Um,
right.
is that the proper term?
I don't know, define
Picky,
it. You're
picky,
picky. Yes, you're
con-
very
you
picky.
know,
That's not a bad
conservative.
thing.
Right. I'm saying conservative in another in the form that I'm picky and I'm a little more slow to move on certain things. I'm not. I it's like if you're a conservative spender, you don't like just go out and you just like constantly buying shit. You
Right,
you think about it, you plan it, whatever. You're a little more. So that's what I meant by kind of a conservative dater or whatever. I'm just don't I don't go out and buy the first thing that I see. I generally do a little research,
right.
and things like that. That's what I meant by that. Nothing
Well, see,
political. Just be
and
clear.
and that makes sense, and I've always admired you for the fact that you can spot the red flags that you can't handle quickly. You know what I
I
mean?
try.
You do better at it than I do,
Right.
because I might hang around a little bit longer to see, are these just she thought it was impressive kind of thing, and it's really not who she is? Because I want to get to know who she is.
Right.
There's been some that right off the bat, it was like, oh, no, 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 no. This,
Right.
that, you know,
But see, and so I think it's interesting because do you, and you can disagree with me. This is more of a question. It's not necessarily that I think this about you, but it's a question. It's just a kind of in your thought, in your head.
all right.
Do you think you may see them more as like an orange flag instead of a red flag? And you're like, I can fix that.
But I don't know if I actually say it like that in my head, but I'm sure because I'm, an empathetic overthinker, I'm sure I think, oh yeah, this is the ultimate victim. I can fix him. You know,
It was a question
well,
because
no,
I
I'm
know men are fixers. That's
yeah,
why I'm saying, do we all do that? You
yes.
know?
Well, I wouldn't say all of us.
Right.
Empathetic people, overthinkers, they're more prone to be fixers.
Right.
And yeah, I was a fixer, back in the day. I'm not so much now. I've learned that I can't fix people. The only person I need to fix is myself. Well, it took me, forever long to figure that out, but I still have that instinct, that intuitiveness
Yes.
to levitate towards people that are hurting or in a bad place, or the
Right.
ones who create drama, that kind of thing. Yeah, I was bad about that years ago. Now I'm more like, can't help you. You better stand on your own 2 feet.
Right.
What happened to my, that's why I'll never have a sugar mama, because they don't need fixing.
Ah, that's
Well,
a
they
good
might
point.
need emotional fixing, but for the most part, they're pretty solid.
Yeah, they're pretty solid. You're
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
They
Yeah.
don't need a weasel like me going, "Are you okay, honey? How
Yeah.
can I help?" That kind of stupid stuff.
Whatever. You never know. You might meet that woman who's like, I don't need fixing, but I'll let him think he's fixing me just to have him around.
Hey, well, you know what? If they want me around, they can do whatever they want if they treat me right.
Exactly.
And I'm not talking about the bedroom. I'm talking about respect,
Integrity.
integrity right here. Boom.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
respect is a big deal. You could even say that in the start of a dating relationship.
Right.
If he or she shows the other person respect on a first date, you might overlook those yellow flags or orange flags or even some small red flags.
Right.
You know,
Right.
I've
So,
smoked for years and people say, I'll never date anybody that smoked. And I've dated people for a year or two and I smoked and
right.
they never complained. But before that, they said they would never smoke. One of my best friends, Daniel Mayer, he's a chiropractor up out of San Antonio, Seguin
Right.
Pass. He said, I will never date a smoker. He'd been married for 15 years. She still
That's
smokes.
funny.
So,
That is funny.
we all have,
Right.
and I only brought that up because I know that's one of your done deals. You smoke, we're
Right.
done. Right.
Right.
So you just talk. See, nowadays you can fix that. Don't try to get her to quit. Just have her start vaping so she doesn't stink and smell like cigarettes.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay.
That is that still a no? Is that why you're
That's
giving me
still a
the
no.
old? Oh, okay, okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah, it's still a no.
See,
Sorry.
smokers have addictive personalities, and you want a woman that's addicted to you.
I already had that once.
Oh, well, it didn't work out for you.
No,
Oh
because
well.
when the addiction breaks, there's resentment.
Well, good point. Excellent point. Okay, that's when you go to RA Relationships Anonymous.
Oh, no, I was gonna say JA.
J
There's a therapist that leads that one, No, I'm just kidding.
JA. You got to tell
Jay's
everybody what
anonymous.
J is. J's anonymous. Yeah.
Jay's anonymous. So,
J
anyway,
O J's out.
there you go. Oh my gosh. So, okay, I
Out of,
got something
oh
funny.
no,
What?
we had a freeze.
Oh,
We had
did
a
we?
freeze. Did it
Oh,
freeze on your end? I don't know. I hope it doesn't freeze on the regular podcast because mine froze for a second. But anyway,
oh, I'm sorry. I missed it. I was
J
laughing so
J
hard.
O J O J's out of here. I don't know if they heard that,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I did hear that.
but yeah,
So, okay.
I just
Right.
I don't know how they do. I don't know how you know. I used to hang around some awesome people, and they're still awesome. And I have bitched about them, and I have said bad things about them, but they're still deep down good people. But I have watched a guy literally pull over on the side of the road and say, "Nick, I need you to drive," because he's texting 6 different women at the same time, and 2 of them were married
Oof.
and did not care.
Yeah,
You
no.
know, that
Yeah.
is that a situationship? How many marriages do you know? And I've kind of heard this here and there sporadically that they're married, but they're bored with each other. So if he goes out and does a little hanky panky every now and again and doesn't bring it home and doesn't talk about it and doesn't disappear on weekends and fall in love with her, so be it. Or she gets to go out and, when they have their girls' night out, she can go get a hookup if she wants to, as long as it's protected and all that. And they don't talk about it. I've heard people doing that. What is
I know
that?
they do.
Wouldn't you call that then a situationship, even though they have the license?
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, in
No,
my opinion, you don't have a true commitment in that situation. They may say they do, but it's it almost like it's like a marriage out of convenience instead of a marriage out of love.
you're
Because
right.
if it was love, would you really want to put yourself at risk for developing feelings or an intimacy with someone else?
Well, let's say you've been married for 100,000 years, all right? You've been married a long time. And
Right.
yes, if you don't work on your relationship, your feelings are going to start to fade. You
Right.
know, the sex was wonderful in the beginning, it's tapered down. Now you're down to once every couple months or 3 months or whatever the situation is. Then it gets to a
Right.
point where you're just not doing it at all,
Right.
right? At that point, why are you
It's a
staying
marriage of
together?
convenience. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Why are you staying together? Well, I love you. Well, I know, but if you love me enough, you'll sit down and we need to work this out. We need to have a schedule. We need to communicate because I'm lacking attention and
Right.
I need attention. Now, if you're going to
So,
hire somebody to do that for you, that's on you.
right.
You know what I'm saying? I want you back the way it was when we first got together.
Right.
You can
So
do that 30 years ago.
there are people though, let's just be honest. There are people who will be like, "Look, I'm not happy, you're not happy. But I don't want a divorce because I don't want to have to pay somebody. You don't want to give up your lifestyle. So I'll have my side fling, you have your side fling, and we'll just live our life the way we're living our life."
Right. Don't
You
flaunt
know?
it in front of the other. I've seen them do that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Don't
exactly.
bring
Don't
him or her
flaunt
to
it.
the house, and yeah,
Right, exactly. But the point is, it's a marriage out of convenience at that point. It's not a marriage of love. The
right.
guy doesn't want to divorce the girl because he doesn't want to give up half, and the girl doesn't want to leave because she knows her lifestyle will change. Even if she gets half, she still knows her lifestyle will change.
Even if she makes more money than he does, her
Yes.
lifestyle's gonna change, you know,
Yes.
and there are people that do that,
Yes.
you
It's
know,
so
that
it's a
but they
marriage of
do.
convenience.
Yeah, I do think they still love one another, because if they didn't, they would say, "Let's part ways." I think there's still something in their heart for one
Yes,
another.
but I think it's more of a love friendship, not love intimacy.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay? Because like, okay, good example, you know, if you talk to my ex-wife, she will tell you that she still loves me, but not as a husband, not
right,
as whatever. She's loves the fact that I'm a good father to her children,
right,
okay? And you can't just turn off the fact that you love someone. So you still care what happens to them. You don't want anything bad to happen to them.
right.
Okay. Now, there are certain situations, bad divorces, where it just gets ugly. And yeah, you fall out. Oh, yeah, I know. I wasn't going to throw you under the bus.
That's all right.
So,
It's okay because I'm gonna have a snarky retort for that here in a second.
no, but there are plenty of people who get divorced who still care about what happens to their ex. They don't want anything to do with them anymore, but they don't necessarily want anything bad to happen to them.
Right. Well, see,
Okay?
yeah,
Go ahead.
I've been married twice. My
Yes.
first wife, I loved her. I love her. I'll always love her.
Right.
You know, and I had this conversation a while back about, well, I said something like that. I will always love you,
Right.
you know, and her response is, well, you'll always love Pam and you'll always love Christy. That's just part of the deal. You know, you fell in love with us once and you're not love. I'm like, oh, I love Pam, always loved her, always will love her. Christy, on the other hand, she's the mother of my children, and I don't want death happening to her, but I want enough weight on her shoulders to suffer a little bit for all the pain that we've caused one another.
Right.
But can I say I still love her? Only as the mother to my children.
And that's it. Yeah,
That's
yeah,
it.
I know. I know.
Now, don't get me wrong. If she is broke on the side of the road and she called me in the middle of the night, yes, I would go over there and
You'd
but
pick her up and you'd take her to her sister's house because you ain't bringing her back home. Anyway,
that's right.
sorry.
If you need to be hospitalized, I'll take you to the hospital. I'll check you
Right.
in, and then
Yeah.
I'm out.
Yeah,
You're on your
exactly.
own after that. You need a ride home, call me.
Right.
But I'm not gonna, not gonna
I
go
know.
water your plants and feed your animals. I'm not. No, no.
No. Yeah. Yeah. We're past that point,
If Pam
people.
was still alive, yes.
Right.
And some past loves,
Right.
absolutely. If I had the opportunity and they were in trouble and I could help them,
Right.
I would.
Right.
Sometimes you can't, if you get that phone call, but for the most part, I would,
Right.
so I don't
So
know.
see, but that's a good point, though. I mean, that goes back to our definition of love from 2 weeks ago. It's 3 weeks ago, something like that. It's yeah. When you love someone, there are different stages, different kinds of love, and yeah, it's all good.
Yeah,
So I was reading here, and it's talking about recognizing situationships. And there's no standard definition of a situationship, but here's some telltale signs.
oh
Okay.
no.
You tell me if you can relate.
Oh no. I'm scared to hear this.
I know. You are confused about what you are.
That's an excellent way to put it.
Okay. Now, this is really interesting on this one because if you're confused about what you are, this is where people will label you as needy because you're trying to get an understanding of where you are with a person.
Right?
And so you're trying to get more information. You're trying to put more effort into feeling, okay, where am I at? So you give a little more into it. And so it makes you come off as needy. Like I
Yes.
said, they're not meeting your needs. They didn't let you know where you stand. So it's not your fault. It's their fault.
Right.
Just my opinion.
I agree with it. I've been there.
Okay. Plans are mostly last minute or short term.
Huh. Makes sense.
Yeah, because if she's dating another guy, she's waiting till the other guy either cancels or whatever, and then you're the backup,
Or vice versa. Yes.
or vice versa.
Yeah.
Yeah. Emotional connection feels shallow, and this was where I said sex versus intimacy.
Right.
If it's shadow, you don't have that emotional connection, which really you can't have intimacy without an emotional connection.
See, so I'm struggling with the way we're wording that. I would say sex versus lovemaking because I still think having sex is intimate.
Okay.
So,
I don't mind wording it like that. I'm good with that.
you know,
Yeah.
I don't know. And I could be wrong. I'm just saying for me, intimacy is
Yes.
one or the other,
Right.
even if it's, you know, passionate stuff going on in the bathroom at a club, that's still intimate between two people. When
Right.
you're
Right.
going to insert yourself into somebody, that's intimate, whether it's over the top crazy passion or whatever, or
So,
a
do you
crazy
think
love
friends
or
with benefits are intimate?
yes,
Oh, okay. There are a lot of
yes.
people that would disagree.
Well, and that's where we need to get into it. Send us an email because I think that all of it is intimate.
Okay.
We need to look up the definition of intimacy.
Okay. I'll let you do that.
I'm working on it.
Okay. Um, the relationship, of course, is not exclusive. That's pretty straightforward. And there is no future on the horizon. That's the last one that they put here. And the biggest thing I think, and this is a great point to the differences between situation and relation, is they say it very plainly and boldly. Communicate openly, not passively.
I don't know how that would work.
Well, okay.
Because if you're in
If
a
you're
situationship, you want to be passive.
right, right. So if they're being passive with you, then that's a flag that you're in a
That oh,
situationship.
I got you. Okay, I got it.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
spun that backwards. Okay,
Yeah. If you want to be in an exclusive, be open about it, be
right.
upfront about it,
Communicate.
communicate. Don't be passive about it. Don't say, don't kind of just hint around. Don't kind of, oh,
Yeah,
I
right.
thought it was understood. No, no, no. Nothing's ever understood anymore. Make sure you're open and about it and talk about it, communicate about it.
We
So,
have a friend, very close friend, that she's too independent to want a full-time relationship, but she does want intimacy. It was actually
really?
said like that. Yes.
Yeah.
That was back
Yeah.
then though, but I argued the point, you just haven't met the right person yet.
Right.
You might be independent, but you might find the right person that thrives on your independence and you could still be exclusive. And she's like, well, I haven't found that yet.
Right. Well,
So,
and that's a good point. If you think about it, it's sort of like the people who work a lot. If you are working a lot and you're like, well, people will complain that, well, you're never home or you're never this and
right.
we don't connect. And it's like, if he really or she really felt that connection, truly felt, don't you think they would actually find a way for work life balance?
Yes, you have to.
Right. But if they haven't found that person, why would they?
Well, I mean, if they're living with somebody, they're deciding that that's their person, make it work.
Right.
Sit down and discuss it. I'm not always right. You're not always right. You're not always wrong. I'm not always wrong. Where's that happy
Oh, wait, wait,
medium?
wait. Hold on a second. I'm always right.
Well, hence the fact you're single.
Exactly, right?
Hence the fact that you're not having intimacy, which I'm about to read.
I'm sorry.
So, intimacy is a noun and
Wait,
it says,
hold on. Before you
oh,
move on,
okay.
I just wanted to let you know I do identify as a woman, and that's why I'm never wrong.
Oh, well, I was identified as them the other day. So, I got confused because I kept arguing with myself.
I'm sorry. That was a cheap joke. I'm sorry, folks. It was
Oh, no, don't apologize for that. We're being
that was
snarky to
fun.
everybody. It's all right.
Yeah, I know. It's good. It's good. Okay, go ahead.
Take it
Next.
lightheartedly. We're just having a good time and being silly.
It's a joke. It's comedy. Come on.
Oh my
Yeah.
God. I would love to be a woman.
Uh,
I mean, I don't want to go through the process and all that stuff because God forbid me looking like a
yeah, I know.
woman, that's just not going to cut it. But
Yes,
if I could
he
go
would
back
love to
in
be able to yeah, he'd love to feel his own tits, I know. Yeah, go
there,
ahead. Anyway,
there
next,
you have it.
intimacy.
No, it's not Star Trek, it's not Star Wars, it's Deep Space Nine, or it's one of those sci-fi movies where the host gets put into different human bodies.
You're not talking about Doctor Who.
It might be I'm asking you.
Uh,
So like
okay.
this host lives for like 300 years, but the bodies don't live that
Oh, I know
long.
what you're talking about. Yeah, Deep
So
Space
they
Nine.
put Deep Space
Yeah.
Nine. There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, Star Trek.
Start. Yeah. There you go. That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying. I'm like, wow, wouldn't that be cool? Because he was
right,
a man, an older, very educated professor,
right.
and then that body was shunned, and now he's a young warrior, female type of
Yeah,
policeman
yeah,
kind of thing.
yeah,
Like he
yeah,
went from one extreme to the other, and I'm like,
yeah,
that. See,
exactly.
our oh, well, you're a millennial, so I can't give you shit. I got to give them to
Whatever,
the
I am
Gen
not
X's.
yeah, I'm Gen Xer.
You're a Gen X? Okay, so
Yeah.
the millennials, I'm just kind of covering that because I don't want you coming back at me. The millennials think that in real life they can do that. That's what's going on. I'm kidding. I don't know. Wouldn't that be cool if you could host a different body? So, anyway, let's get back to the definition of intimacy. Okay. When Jay's done laughing, ladies and gentlemen, JayTalk.
Nick just pissed off half our fans. Anyway, go ahead. Go ahead.
No,
Go
I
ahead.
didn't. I didn't piss anybody off.
I'm messing with you, dude.
Everybody's going, like, that guy's some kind of screwed up. That's all they're
Yeah,
saying, and they're
exactly.
laughing
Yeah,
at me.
exactly. They all
You
know
know
you. Yeah,
Paul's cracking up. If he was on here, he'd be throwing down.
I know. I know.
So intimacy, the definition, there's actually 3 short ones. We're never gonna get through this
I'm
podcast.
sorry, but I had a really bad thought in my head. It really just, I just had this really horrible thought.
I'm trying to move forward, people. Jay's not letting me because he can't
What?
figure out whether he's a man or a woman.
Okay, let's move forward. Intimacy.
Intimacy, the definition, close familiarity or friendship closeness. Okay. A
Okay.
private, cozy atmosphere. The room has a peaceful sense of intimacy about it.
Okay.
Here's the one that is me. An intimate act, especially sexual intercourse.
Okay.
They don't say lovemaking, they don't sexual intercourse,
Well, but
intimacy.
it says like sexual intercourse. It doesn't say that sexual intercourse is
It says
always intimate.
an intimate act,
Like.
especially
Oh, especially.
especially sexual intercourse. So the intimate familiarity, close familiarity, and friendship closeness, the intimacy between a husband and a wife,
Right?
and then it goes on.
Okay.
So
So
interpretive relationships, it does say physical or emotional. An intimate relationship is an interpersonal relationship that involves physical or emotional intimacy.
right.
And I could read on, but yeah.
Okay.
So I struggle with the word intimacy when it comes to that. If you're
Okay.
ever sexual in any form or fashion, that in my mind is extremely intimate.
Okay. Well, and it's funny you say that because I'm actually looking at websites called everydayhealth.com. Okay. And they define sex as a physical act,
Right?
intimacy is an emotional connection.
Right there.
Men men who can't get an erection after extensive cancer can be intimate both emotionally and physically even though they're not having sex.
Yes.
Right. But they're not tied together,
Okay. Yeah.
you know? So that's their definition. I'm just telling you, because it's like, we're talking about these situationships and relationships, but a lot of what defines your situationship and relationship is the intimacy, the sex, and some of the other things, the factors that go along with this.
Yes.
People may have thought we've been going off on a side tangent, but no, it pulls back in together, folks. You really
Yeah.
need to think about that.
Yes.
You know,
I'm not one for one night stands and hookups and stuff like that. That doesn't appeal to me even when I was in my 20s and I would hump a tree. You know what I mean?
yeah, I know too.
I'm just in the mode to make Jay laugh because he's got the giggles tonight. But I
Yeah,
mean,
I do. Well, I had a really nasty thought, a really bad thought earlier, and it's just really horrible.
now,
So
are you going to tell us?
I'm
Come
probably
on,
gonna piss
Jay.
people off if I make it. I make the
You know
comment.
what? You said I've done pissed everybody off. So what do you? They're going to
Uh,
focus on me.
uh, uh,
Don't
well, I
do it
made
if
the
you don't feel
comment.
right.
I made the joke earlier that I identify as a woman.
Right?
I just mean I also identify as a lesbian because I like women.
Yeah. Well, wait a minute. That was what you were afraid to say.
I don't know why. I'm afraid people would be offended by that, but for some reason in my head, I'm like, oh, damn it, you
I am a
know.
lesbian because I love me some women.
Exactly.
That's
I'm
good
not
stuff.
trying to offend any of the LGBTQ group, but I mean, come on, that was funny shit. I'm
Damn,
just
you spit
saying.
that out well. You did. You said that just right. I don't think anybody's gonna be offended by that. I've heard
I
it.
don't.
I've heard that
Oh, no,
before. Yeah,
yeah, I know,
yeah,
I know. Some people will be. In this culture, though, it's really hard to know when people are gonna be pissed off, you
right,
know? It's just funny. It really is. You just never know anymore, you know?
yeah,
I've stopped being politically correct. I don't know that I ever started, so, I don't know.
yeah.
But
I
it's
don't either
funny.
because I don't have a problem saying it either. You know, and it's not intent to lash out or hurt somebody's feelings,
No,
but
no, it's yeah, it's
you
just
know,
for, yeah, come on, have a little smile, come on. Yeah, yeah,
a fake
exactly.
one.
Yeah,
That cracks me up. People do that.
in a way.
Wow, really?
In a way. No,
So yeah.
it's funny. Go ahead.
So coming down to all this, my thought processes on the situationship is it's just too much work. I don't think it's worth it for I do. I'm starting to enjoy when I have my alone time.
Right,
If I was in a house right now and I was living with somebody, I would still want some alone time. You
right,
know, not like I want to go out to a bar and just I'm talking about for I don't know how many months when I wasn't dating anybody or doing anything. I was here in my room watching TV. I was doing laundry and stuff on the weekends. I go to the grocery store, just me. No, let's see what's going on tonight, Friday night. Let's go to none of that.
right,
Pick my shows or pick my movies or read a book or listen to a book, or
right,
surf the internet. Just me by myself. I'm starting to really enjoy that.
right,
You know, if I was living with somebody, I would have to set that boundary of, hey, I still need my me time. And my me time doesn't consist of me going somewhere. It's just, me kick back in my chair watching TV or surfing the internet. But I want it to be, you know,
right. Well, it's sort of like the a good example of a great situation in that in what you're talking about. I'm not trying to talk about situationship. I'm just talking about a situation. Um, I want to sit down. I want to watch my favorite episode of Yellowstone.
right?
If you want to sit down and watch it with me and not say anything so I can enjoy it, but we are still together, I'm okay with that.
Right.
If you want to sit down and read a book and let me watch my show without interrupting, I'm okay with that. It's not like they have to leave, they just have to let you have your moment.
Yes.
You know, it's and that I think that's what a lot of people misunderstand. You
Right.
know, one of the things me and my ex-wife used to do, it was this is funny, and this is I don't talk. I try not to talk bad about my ex-wife very much. You know, I don't. I try to
Right.
avoid that. But this was a really funny story, and I'll share this with you guys. Um, I used to play video games pretty hardcore.
Yes.
Um, Call of Duty, okay, it was my big one for a while. So I would sit in my recliner and I would play Call of Duty. She would sit in her recliner next to me. She would read a book. Okay.
Right.
She started complaining because I wasn't giving her any attention. So I put the game down and started to talk to her. And she looked at me and she said, I'm reading a book.
She wasn't very clear on what kind of attention she was seeking.
Yeah, I guess so.
You know, maybe she
I
wants you
know.
to get up and clean the kitchen kind of attention.
Yeah, I know, I know. But
Acts
if you're
of
not
service.
clear,
Acts
yeah,
of
yeah,
service. It obviously wasn't words of affirmation. So,
yeah, right. But see, that's the funny thing is I was there. I wasn't out,
right.
at a bar with another guy doing anything like that. And the guy I was playing Call of Duty with was somebody's house that we went to for Thanksgiving. So it's a friend of the family, and it was a friend of hers. It's not like it's some stranger, you know what
Right.
I mean?
Yeah.
So but it's really funny. So it's you have to look at that, because there are situations where, us guys, we like to just unplug. We've had a rough day at work and, we just want an hour to unplug. Most of the time I would do that at 9 o'clock at night. Kids are supposed to be in bed. I just want to unplug. She could be reading her book. Okay, what's wrong with me, playing my video game if you're reading a book?
I just think she didn't communicate what type of attention she was seeking.
Right,
You know what I mean?
right. Oh, I tried to give her that attention, and she's like, "Yeah, I'm reading a book."
Well, I mean, it could like I said, it could be cleaning the
I know.
kitchen. It could be anything. It depends on what love language her her cup, whatever love language cup was empty,
Right,
right?
right,
She needed
right.
that cup filled. She didn't know how to tell you, "Hey, my acts of service cup is empty. I need you to
She didn't
fill it
even
up."
know what her language was.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Should
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
and it's
yeah,
yeah, I don't know.
yeah. So
That's the
anyway,
way I wanna end it off, yeah.
yeah, that I just wanted to share that story because it's funny because that happens a lot more times than we talk about,
Right,
And some couples are perfectly happy just being in the same room. They don't have to be doing the same thing,
right,
and that's kind of that acceptance, like, okay, you're not out somewhere else cheating on me, but I don't necessarily have to have you up in my shit all the time.
right.
So,
Yeah.
you
I was
know,
in a great relationship where all I had to do was be in the room. Like, I could be sitting on the couch watching TV and she'd be doing whatever she's doing as long as we're in the same room,
right,
and that was great. It
right,
was awesome,
right,
but when they
right.
want you, "Oh, come on, get up and do I want you to do this with me. I wanna go, I wanna go," and you do those things to a certain degree, but there needs to be that time. Can
Yes, yes,
and all this falls back to a situationship. I can't do it. I don't wanna do it, even though I enjoy my independence when I have it,
right,
my solitude or my quiet,
right.
I still couldn't be I no, I can't do it. I would rather tell her, "You need to get out of the room," "Leave me
Right,
alone," and get in an
right.
argument about that than to wait around and then, start texting, "Okay, I'm ready for some attention, so I'm gonna text the 4 or 5 situationships that I'm in and find out which one can go out Friday night." You know,
Right.
that it just doesn't feel right.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
That's the
I
baby
agree with you.
boomer in me because we didn't, I'm I beat the cusp. I'm the baby boomer by 3 months. So we're gonna
Okay.
be extinct here in about 10 years.
Yeah. Maybe 20 years.
63 and I'm
Yeah, but
60. So, okay,
yeah.
20. I'll give you 20.
Is
My
your
mother's
mama boom?
80. Yeah, she's a baby boomer
Okay.
and she's 80.
Yeah.
So, well, she's
Yeah, but
probably gonna live to like 130. That, she's tough as nails.
I know.
Even the good Lord's like, "I'm keeping you right here, young lady.
Yeah, there you go, right?
I need
So,
you to spread love around the world." She actually, and I don't mean to cut this in, but my mother at almost 81 years old, she'll be 81 in July. She played in a golf tournament today and won a lot of awards. Let's put it that way. Closest to the
right,
pin kind of thing, at
right,
80 years old. It's phenomenal. And
right.
yeah, she's
She's
a baby
gonna
boomer.
yeah, she's gonna kick my ass on my birthday. I know.
Oh, we gotta set that up too, yeah.
So,
Round of golf with my mother. Can't get more
exactly.
fun
Nope.
while
No.
she whips our ass up and down the court.
I know.
Of course.
I know.
Oh, well.
So, it's all good. Nothing but
Yeah,
love for her.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm not into
So,
the situationship. I don't mind
I
talking
agree.
about it, discussing it, learning a little bit about it, but it's just not for me.
Right. Yeah, and I agree with you. Um, It's yeah, I don't know. It's just tough. I
Yeah.
me, it's you either go dating or relationship.
Right.
If you're in a relationship, you're exclusive. If you're dating, you're not.
Right.
It's very cut and dry for me. I don't have anything else. And sorry,
Yeah.
I don't do the friends with benefits.
Yeah.
So, not that I have any friends that would want to do that in the first place, but I'm just saying, I'm just
Oh, but you do.
whatever. Anyway,
You
so
never got a knock on the door. Hey, I'm just here for 15 minutes. Let's hurry up. Let's get it done.
no, never had that call, man.
Damn it.
Yeah, sorry.
Oh well.
Last comments for the crowd.
I only have one thing to say at this point, brother. I love you with all my heart.
Yep, I love you too, and of course, we love our fans. So,
Absolutely do.
yep, keep listening, keep following.